Hi, I'm Nick Rogers. I'm the Director of Speaker Curation at TEDxOrlando. I'm here with Liam Rogers, my husband, who is the Managing Director of TEDxOrlando, and Afreen Huck, who is our speaker coach, or one of our speaker coaches, and part of our curation team. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
And we thought it would be good to get some of the team together to talk a little bit about TEDxOrlando, the background, how we came to be involved in TEDx, and our plans for bringing this exciting event back to Orlando. So maybe if we start with you, Afreen, what's your TEDx journey been? How did you come to get involved in this project?
Yeah, well, I've been a TEDx fan for probably since the beginning. As somebody that is an entrepreneur for over 15 years, I am in business and marketing for 25 years. And just listening to different speakers talk about their ideas and seeing how it can create this ripple effect, I have all these bookmarks of different TEDx talks. And in my journey, I've helped people get onto TEDx stages. And it is something that I feel like is a crucial part of being an innovator, a voice of change. And most recently, I got a phone call from the executive producer of TEDxOrlando, who was an attendee at one of my events. And she said, Afreen, the way that you speak on stage, I want you to be a part of coaching people to have that same type of effect, that same type of magic that you bring to your events. Will you be a speaker coach? And immediately my answer was yes.
That's fantastic. Well, that's Dr. Carrie Rose, our executive producer, who's a fantastic networker and has actually brought on a lot of the people who are on the TEDxOrlando team. But is this the first time you've coached TEDx speakers?
Yes, this is the first time that I'm coaching TEDx speakers.
Okay. And what do you think? What do you think are going to be the differences and the challenges versus coaching speakers for other types of events?
Absolutely. You know, already learning from both of you, seeing the journey of the speaker curation process and seeing how a lot of people come to these type of forums to be able to share more about their business, but that's not the spotlight for the TEDx brand. We're really looking for people who want to make a change in the world. And the spotlight is around the idea. It is around the conversation and not necessarily about the funnel or the business idea. And so to be able to strip away the sales and the marketing and really just have a conversation where everyone in the room is just eavesdropping about hearing that one idea that they think is going to change everything is really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. It is about the ideas, not so much about the pitch and the sales pitch. So coming to you, Liam, obviously I well know your TEDx journey because I've lived it alongside you. But what is your TEDx journey like? Do you want to talk a little bit about TEDx Kingston upon Thames, which is the event we ran together first?
Well, it was your idea. You came home from work one day and said, we should do a TEDx event in Kingston, which Kingston upon Thames is a suburb of London. It's where I grew up. So you had the idea one day to do it. And I come from an events and marketing background. And it was like, well, we can pool our skills together. You're more of a public speaker than I am, and I'm a marketing and event person. I thought, well, why not? Let's give it a go. And it went from there.
It did. And I guess some context for Americans, the best way of relating Kingston to people seems to be it's next door to Richmond where they filmed Ted Lasso. That seems to be the one reference that lots of Americans get.
Or very near to Wimbledon where they do the TEDx.
Yeah, and just down the road from Wimbledon. That's
but
true.
Kingston has a huge history. The history goes back like 1,200 years. 7 Anglo-Saxon kings were crowned in Kingston. So in some ways, when we were organizing that event, we had literally 1,000 years worth of like history of Kingston to draw upon for ideas for speakers. So fast forward to TEDxOrlando, but Orlando is a much younger city. It's much more vibrant than Kingston. No offense, Kingston. But also Orlando is Orlando. If for us in Kingston, it was almost like when we finished our journey of doing TEDx Kingston, it would have been like us taking on TEDx London. Well, this is the TEDxOrlando is the citywide TEDx. But we turned our TEDx TEDx event into a much bigger event than most sort of smaller town regional events are. You start off doing a 100-person event, and if it goes well, they let you put on the larger events. And we scaled it up to a 900-seat venue, which we sold out multiple times. But now that we're doing TEDx Orlando, it feels like we can take everything that we did in Kingston and take it all to like the next level.
I think one of the things that when I look back on the events we ran at TEDx Kingston, one of the big things that I think we improved and refined was that speaker curation process. Like, I remember our very first event, it was basically me finding some interesting people or people emailing me saying, oh, I'm kind of interested in talking here. And I'd meet them for coffee and be like, yeah, you sound great. Sounds wonderful. And we had some fantastic speakers. We also had some who perhaps didn't meet what you'd be looking for in a TEDx talk. So I don't know, how, thinking back over our sort of 10 years of TEDx Kingston, how did that curation process change, do you think?
The first event was very, as you say, the speakers were good. They didn't really go through a coaching process, which they could have done with some of Afrine's magic to make their talk even more polished.
But I'll say something about that because I think that sometimes having somebody that isn't as polished makes it a little bit more approachable and raw and real, which is what the audience is looking for. So I like learning from both of you, seeing that you're not always looking for somebody that has a speaker reel.
Actually,
and that's what we did actually in Kingston. That's one of the things we did. So as soon as we got a speaker coach involved, Tara, who was our speaker coach for all of our events, and we actually only had one speaker coach. And I think the difference was when we scaled it up to a 900-seat venue, 100 people in the grand scheme of things is not a huge number of people in a crowd, but we were like, from a 100 to 900, you have to elevate like the level of polish. But also, as you say, we had an amazing speaker coach, and it meant that we could bring on board people who did not have public speaking experience, but they had an amazing idea, an amazing story to tell, and we could almost take a little bit of a risk with those people because of the speaker coaching that we had at our fingertips.
In fact, there's always one speaker I use as an example, a guy called Graham Buckingham, who ran, of all things in Southwest London, a shark conservation charity,
which is so funny because we're nowhere near the sea.
We're nowhere near the sea.
We were like, why is that in Kingston? That doesn't make any sense.
He obviously is doing this incredible work, trying to end the trafficking in shark fins, obviously used for shark fin soup all around the world. It's a hideously cruel practice, and so he knew that this was a major opportunity for him, but he had very little public speaking experience and was, if he's listening to this, I think it's fair to say, quite nervous, would you say?
Yeah, he
was extremely nervous. But our coach really showed me the value of a good coach who can take someone who has got a fantastic idea and refine that, help them build that confidence in themselves that they can stand on that stage and deliver a talk to 900 people. So I'm just interested in what some of your strategies might be when you're coaching your little flock of speakers that you'll be assigned.
Yeah, I think the first thing is storytelling, making sure that there is a emotional connection about why they care about shark fins and being able to bring that to life. I think that you have a certain number of minutes when you're on the TEDx stage, but when you're preparing, every month you're building up to those minutes, and maybe it's your one shot in your lifetime, and it's something that you've been studying or obsessed with for years. So to hear from somebody that almost has like a PhD level of research and expertise, you want to be able to showcase that in a way that makes it conversational, relatable, resonates, and sparks some type of conversation after the event as well. So we want to make sure that we're building a opportunity for them to share their story about why they care about it so much, but then also leave them something to say, tell me more about this. That's going to have them go back to the video and have them research or be part of the conversation.
I think that point about being conversational is crucially important, because you might have we have had people in the past who are, say, academics in their field, astonishing levels of knowledge about a particular area, but where they struggle, where they need coaching, is in making that relatable to people who don't have that specialist knowledge. And well, I actually ended up, I wasn't part of our organizing team for the whole of TEDx Kingston, and I ended up being a speaker at our last event in 2024. And my subject was a topic that I've been passionate about since childhood, airships, very nerdy. And my first draft of the talk assumed far too much knowledge. And when I practiced it in front of you, Liam, and in front of our coach, the feedback was you need to dial this down a bit and meet the audience in a more kind of reasonable way.
Yeah, that's something I always bring to it, because I'm not part of the coaching process. But I will always be the one that watches the talks when they're sort of ready for rehearsal, like as in like a month or so before the actual event. And I try to be the audience member. I put on my I'm a stupid person hat. No, I'm like, like I pretend.
Anything.
No, I know it's not difficult for me to do that. No, I just I pretend like I act like I do not know anything about the topic, which often I don't know anything about the topic. But I'm also quite a good sort of storyteller in terms of like narrative structure. So if someone has a narrative in their talk, if it doesn't make sense, if I'm like, wait, hang on a second, you lost me there because you were telling a narrative, and then there was like a, like a movie level plot hole where I'm like, wait, hang on a second, the audience is going to get lost, so you need to refine your narrative, you need to refine your takeaway. What is it, that one thing you want the audience to take away at the end of the talk?
Yeah, absolutely.
And at the end of the day, it's 12 speakers throughout the day. It's a lot of ideas, and you kind of want the audience to remember your talk.
I think that a lot of it is the preparation that goes into it. I know in speaking with you about your moment on stage that you knew your talk, you memorized it, and there were moments of magic because you're in the room and it's somewhat improvisational in terms of what the audience reacts to, and maybe you're predicting that there may be a pin drop moment or an applause, but then there was this moment where you knew you had them, and then it just takes off.
Yeah, and I have to, I'm reasonably experienced public speaker, but you walk out onto that stage and you stand on the red dot. And there was a moment where, they clap as you walk on, you get to the spot, you stand there, they stop clapping, and there's that silence. And in my head, I did think, what the bloody hell have I got myself in for? Why am I doing this? And then I was like, well, I've got to start. So I gave my first line, and then you remember your first line and think, well, I've got this. And then it was, I was telling the first anecdote, which was about the destruction of the airship Hindenburg, like a very dramatic moment, and there was a pause, and I realized that you couldn't hear a pin drop in the auditorium, and that was the big boost for me. I was like, oh, they're actually interested in what I'm saying, and that was such a confidence boost that it launched me into the rest of my talk. So I think for speakers, that's something to bear in mind. Make sure you got a good opening, because then it'll give you the confidence boost when you realize that the audience are engaged in your talk.
Yeah,
also, just to cut in one moment there, we didn't know that this was going to happen, and you never know when you're a speaker on the day of an event where you're like in the middle of a section. We didn't know that the person that did their talk before yours did not go to plan. Let's say he tried to memorize his talk and he forgot it halfway through. We don't normally have that, but you're backstage listening to his talk not go as well as he obviously would want it to do. We managed to bring it back, and we managed to get him his script, and actually the video turned out pretty well in the end. But for the speaker who's coming next, you never know if that's almost like a little bad omen of how it might go for you. And I don't know, and I think people forget when they see the videos online that these have taken part as part of a larger event. And there's a run of the day, and you could be the first speaker, you could be a middle speaker, or you could be the one at the end. And the energy of the audience is very different throughout the day of the event. And that's something that was always really important for us in TEDx Kingston, and also it will be for TEDxOrlando, is that it's just as much for the audience as it is for the video recording that then lives on YouTube for the rest of time. And I try to say that to speakers. It's like you're playing to the crowd, but you also need to be thinking about the cameras as well. And that's the one thing to say. If anyone has applied for TEDxOrlando and then makes it onto our stage, if anything does happen on the day, we will reset and we will go again, because we're doing it partly for the video. And the audience are very forgiving when stuff like that happens. We didn't have many opportunities like that or situations like that in Kingston, but I would always say to them, do not worry. If something happens, there's ways that we can sort of make it so that it goes more smoothly than you would want it to go, maybe.
Well, I love that you shared that with us, because behind the scenes is such an important part of the conversation, but often we don't see that on YouTube. We see the finished product. So thanks for letting us in behind the curtain.
No, it's cool. You never know what's going to happen at a TEDx event, and we've now run quite a lot of them, and they look like very simple events, but there's always things that can go wrong. But maybe we should change the topic a little bit to our plans for TEDxOrlando.
Yes.
So
We are so excited. As an Orlandoan that has been living here for over 7 years, we're so excited to be having both of you as our mentors, bringing back TEDxOrlando. I know that there was a pause for quite some time, but right now is the time.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got to know Orlando quite well over the years, and I can't think of a city where the moment is better for something like
Yeah,
TEDx.
I agree. Just to add to that, in my research, I found over 250,000 new residents moved here in the last 5 years, and that entrepreneurship and being somebody that is a founder is grown 30% year over year. So we're seeing just more innovation happening here in the city. So it's time to bring together forward-thinking voices and have them take center stage.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what we want to achieve with the event.
Yeah, we've just done our open call for speakers, and that's something we always did in Kingston as well. We always did an open call, and we had over 600 applications from Orlando people who have a lot to say, which is very, very exciting. I think in Kingston, probably the maximum we ever had was 150.
Yes.
So 600 is unprecedented and quite a lot to go through.
Yes, big job for us on the curation team.
So a lot of people have been like, when am I going to find out about my talk? And I'm like, we've got 600 applications to go through. That's a big chunk of work. But I think because of our experience in Kingston, and also, yes, there were 2 teams that were organizing TEDxOrlando previously, and I've been in touch with the organizers from the previous incarnation of it. But we can aim quite big with our next event because we have the experience in Kingston. The demand is definitely there in Orlando. People are desperate for TEDxOrlando to come back. And also there's amazing theater spaces that we can fill with all of our ideas.
And I think that beyond the speakers, just people who want to be part of the event, whether it's in the audience or on the team, there's also a demand for that too. So we're really seeing a culture being built around this event, which is what we want to see.
Exactly. And my ambition for our speaker lineup is that we try and make whatever gains come out of this event live on. So I don't want the event to just end when the last speaker finishes speaking and finishes their talk. I want us to create a sort of alumni kind of association of TEDx speakers who maybe we bring together once a year and catch up and see how things have progressed since the talks, how hopefully doing the TEDx talks will have changed their lives, changed their businesses, or even changed the city. I think we've got to think of it as an ongoing project, not just one event that happens on one day.
Yeah, I think we did that in Kingston very well. We built up an alumni of past speakers. We had in the end 70 talks, 70 speakers. I think we built up such an amazing team who really loved the way that we approached it. Some of those people will fly to Orlando to come to TEDxOrlando because of how much they loved what we did in Kingston, and they're excited about what we're bringing to Orlando.
I know there were at least a handful, because you said our first event, 100 people, but 20 of those people were speakers and organisers, so 80 tickets sold. And I know that there's people who went to every single event that we organise in Kingston, so they have to come. They have to go out to Orlando.
Yes, come.
We'll sort you out some cheap flights or something. We'll find you a place to stay. It'd be really cool to see someone in the audience that they were like, I was at your first TEDx Kingston event. I don't know.
But so do you want, as our boss on TEDxOrlando, do you want to sort of catch us up with where we are? Because we do have a couple of announcements which are just around the corner, which are quite exciting.
Yeah, one of the big things we've been doing, obviously we did our speaker open call, 600 applications, incredible. Now we're doing all of that work. I say I'm not doing a heck of a lot of it. You guys are doing it. But we're looking for our venue. So we've been doing venue tours. We're pretty certain we have selected our venue, and it's possibly a slightly larger audience than we actually initially thought that we were going to do. But that's very exciting. As soon as you kind of standing in the space when you can picture the TED red letters on the stage, the carpet, the lighting, the big screen where people do their presentations, and thinking about how that's going to be full of the audience. And standing on the stage and looking out to the audience and thinking, that's going to be full of people in like a year's time is incredible. So that's what we've been doing. We've been looking at venue spaces, and we've been speaking to potential sponsors, partners who really want to buy into the sort of TEDx ethos, who want access to sort of the TEDx brand, but also really care about the changes that are happening in Orlando, and they want to sort of utilize it to tap into the TEDx audience for their company, organization, or brand that they want to be associated with it.
Yes, and we're talking to one potential sponsor in particular who is like not just transactional corporate person, but someone deeply embedded in the Orlando community, really cares about the future of the city. So it's really going to be a really great match with TEDx Orlando.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to announce it today, but we're pretty sure we have selected our venue. And because of that, we now have some dates that we're looking at. So it's all like right on the cusp.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm pretty sure that before the end of this year, we'll have our tickets ready to be sold. So we are off to the races. With
With a lot of momentum.
Yeah.
I know, just sitting back watching Orlando come to life with different events and opportunities, but to see after not having a TEDx Orlando for several years, and then we just tapped into it, and all of a sudden we have all the applications, we have people joining the mailing list, we have sponsors ready. Like you said earlier, the demand is there, and we're just getting started. What's really interesting about your approach in bringing TEDx Orlando to the city is that it's not just a one-off a la carte event. You're really looking at how this can be an engine for the city by not only having this flagship event, but also introducing other stages as well. So can you share a little bit about that strategy?
Yeah, so we have always called the sort of the one yearly big event our flagship event. That's not a TEDx thing, that's just what we called it. And then the more official name for the smaller events is TEDx Salon events. Those are smaller, sort of looser, like a smaller number of speakers, maybe like 5 or 6, like shorter events, and those can happen in venues all over Orlando. So I did speak about the fact that we're looking for venues for our flagship event, but we've also been looking at smaller theatres, smaller venues to hold salon events. And technically, I think most TEDx events, they do their flagship event, they do like one a year, but salon events can be a far more regular thing. So we're speaking to some of the universities in Orlando about hosting salon events there. One of the venues, we say it's a smaller event, but one of the venues has a capacity of 500. So even the salon events are probably bigger than some other TEDx's flagship events. But it means that we can it's the idea of almost bringing the TEDx experience to the communities. We could go into the different neighborhoods as long as they have the right venue for us, and we could host a salon event with them.
One of the things that I'm looking forward to is having a conversation in Orlando, because we're so much more than just Disney, and I am a Disney fan. I have an annual pass, but one of the things that I love going to in Disney is Epcot, because it's an experimental space.
Exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. And Epcot, experimental prototype community of
tomorrow.
Yes, and I think it's easy to stereotype Orlando for the theme parks, but I think there are a few points. One is that the theme parks are what has caused the city to be what it is today. This amazing, exciting, interesting, vibrant place. And the other thing is that I'm always inspired by is just the vision that Walt Disney himself had, the vision for this city. He came to an area of swampland and orange groves, and he foresaw Epcot as an actual city where people would live, work, and play in the community of tomorrow. And I think that we can never, ever, ever lose that kind of vision for Orlando. Maybe it will change its focus, maybe it will change the outlet, but I see TEDx as tapping into that Walt Disney level of vision and experimentation, and carrying it forward.
Yeah. I really don't like it when anyone is disparaging of the theme parks in Orlando. It's like, well, this is one of the reasons why most of us are here. That's one of the reasons why Orlando is here, is the theme parks. And also, if Disney or Universal want to sponsor us, hit me up.
Yeah.
No. And this is the reason why we came to Orlando as kids, is the theme parks. That's why British people love Orlando. So I feel like when you're talking about the future of Orlando, you can't deny that one of the big reasons why people are here is the theme parks. But also I understand why like Orlandoians want to have like to people to know that there is more to the city than just the theme parks. And maybe TEDx can play one of those, like a small little part in showing to people that there is more to Orlando than the theme parks.
Yeah, but I mean, there's many examples of cities that have had their identity built around a certain thing, and often it is entertainment, like Nashville and music, for example, who've been able to use that and all the amazing things that having a strong entertainment sector has, and then develop into other areas. I mean, with the theme parks, you've got this incredible incubator of young, talented employees and staff who then want to grow into other areas. So,
and what a great metaphor for TEDx stages, that we're incubating ideas and we're experimenting with ideas that one moment can change the course of your life, but also the life of others.
Yes, exactly that. So, I mean, I think basically what we're saying is that there's so much opportunity in Orlando, so many things that it could do. And TEDx is going to be a part of helping us all figure out what those things might be.
And also one person on our team, at least one person I know on our team, Eric, who's on our curation team, he started his kind of working career working at Disney. And that's one of the reasons why he ended up moving here in the last couple of years. He now is a pilot. He's a commercial captain pilot. He's now on our curation team. But that's one of the things that draws people to Orlando. And if they love it, because why wouldn't they love it? They want to stay here, but then they want to start their careers in other avenues, but we want them to stay in Orlando and keep that love of the city and those expertise in the city. So maybe that leads into our next question about team.
I was literally about to...
Because Eric's on our team, we've got an amazing team. Afreen, did you want to speak a little bit about how we've managed to get this team together?
Yeah, well, the person that brought me in, Dr. Carrie Rose, she is an amazing entrepreneur, and because of her leadership, I knew when she asked me to be on the team, I would follow her anywhere. And she has such an amazing network of people that are trustworthy, reliable, entrepreneurial, and creative. And we did a kickoff meeting at the Dr. Phillips Center. It was such a fun kickoff to our team. We saw a musical and we had dinner together, and it's almost like we became family in that one night. And to be able to just connect in and create those conversations without knowing anybody, from stranger to just being able to sit down with somebody and say, I think this is going to be an awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have like a peculiar range of like backgrounds and talents on our team, don't you? Although I find that often is the case with TEDx teams, that it just brings people who are quite interesting, who you'd want to sit down and have a chat with anyway. You mentioned Eric, who's an airline pilot. You have a background in marketing. You're an entrepreneur. We've got educators, writers, like a whole bunch of people who have come together to put this event together.
Got, I think, 3 or 4 people who are TEDx speakers, including Nick.
That's true. Yeah.
So we have at least 2 people on our curation and speaker coaching team who have also done their own TEDx talks, which I think is really important. But it's in many ways like Nick and I bring the experience of organizing a TEDx event, but then the rest of the team who are people who have been living here longer, who definitely know the city even better than we know it, they all bring their experience of what it's like living and working and like playing in Orlando. And that's what I said when Carrie introduced me to people. I was like, well, we're bringing our TEDx experience as outsiders to Orlando, but you guys bring all of your local knowledge and network and connections. And it genuinely has been amazing. It's almost like fast-tracked Nick and I meeting all of these amazing Orlando people who are involved in TEDx, but also have other things going on. They all have businesses or amazing jobs. And it's just been an amazing little family.
And that's just it. We're all volunteers here, and the commitment and the dedication and the care that we put into every conversation, every meeting, and even the in between the meetings, the way that we're communicating with one another. Yeah. It is a very well-oiled group of people that has great synergy working with each other.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And you said about volunteers, and I think not everyone always knows that. Like, everyone on the organizing committee for any TEDx event has to be a volunteer. And also, we are completely separate from like TEDx. They give you the license, so I'm the licensee for TEDxOrlando, but they have rules and sort of like rules and regulations you have to follow. But what you then do with your event is truly up to you, and you can shape it the way that you want to shape it. So we very much, we had a point of view of how we would run TEDx Kingston, which is entirely different. I went to an event in TEDx Brighton, which is on the south coast of the UK, and it had a completely different sort of feel to what we curated in Kingston, because they had a different perspective about how to run it. So I think people don't really realize that it's like an independently organized thing. So TEDxOrlando will be completely different to another TEDx event that people have gone to. And people loved our event. People would return to our event. We literally had people, because you'd always ask for feedback after, people would say, your event feels different. It feels like a community. It feels like a family. It feels welcoming. It doesn't feel cliquey. It just, I think we always had that vibe. And now meeting the new team that we've managed to curate, it feels like that again. We feel like a little happy family.
Yeah, I think
we may not all agree at all times. There might be little squabbles, little disagreements.
Well, that's like,
however, it will all come together on the day.
Yeah, like
family. That's what I mean. It's like, that's what I mean by it being like family. We're all like, we all become closer. It's like much closer than if you're just like working colleagues, and also I think we all care about it so much, and that's why it feels like family.
Well, I think one of the things that has us set up to win is your experience, that we have guidance, in how we're going to set forth the vision and the ideas, and understanding the guidelines in a way where it gives us a space to create beyond the guidelines, and having that mentorship plus having the team that's based here. It's just a recipe for a really exciting event.
It's just I think for us, it's not, we thought when we did our 2024 event, and Nick and I were already in the process of relocating to Orlando, so we kind of thought our TEDx journey was over, because I didn't know I was going to be able to get the license for TEDxOrlando. So it's just really exciting. Like in some ways it was like closing the door on something and then suddenly
opening the door,
these huge doors to Orlando. And I was always like, we've got to do something more. We've got to do something different. We want to take it to another level. In some ways we maxed out the capacity of the theatre in our town in Kingston. That was the only theatre we could host it at. So the possibilities are like endless.
Yes, let's open the door and welcome to TEDxOrlando.
So Liam, what are you most excited about for TEDxOrlando?
Everything. That's my pageant answer. Everything. I am actually excited about everything. Even just because we are like new people to Orlando. We're outsiders. It feels like we're outsiders coming in and tapping into this audience. But I am excited about everything. We've already met amazing people, Afreen included. And I know it sounds, I would always go onto our stage. Like at some point during our events, I would always stand on the stage and basically thank people for coming, kind of being like the lead organizer and the licensee being like, thanks for coming. But standing on that stage and looking out at the audience, like, again, also just as a sort of marketing person, as like an event organizer, it's very rare that you get an opportunity to stand on that stage and look at the audience that's in that room because of what we have put together. And there's something so powerful about that. I get so much energy from just seeing that, and standing on the stage that we're looking at using for TEDxOrlando. I can already sort of picture that moment of being there, and that's the moment where you suddenly think, this is real, this happened, we've done something, and then the possibilities are kind of like endless from all of that.
How about you, Afreen? What are you most excited about?
I'm excited about everything, but it really is the unexpected, that we know that we're going to pull an event together. There's going to be people and speakers, and it's going to be inspiring, but there's something that is magical that happens when it all comes together. And for me already, just being part of the team and finding connections, Nick, to give you a nod, the friendship that we've created and the conversations that have come out outside of just being up to being a difference maker in the world, and knowing that we can champion each other's ideas and bringing together a whole community of people that are up to the same thing. I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes out of that.
Yeah, absolutely, and it is true. And actually, the thing I'm most excited about is kind of similar. It's the kind of the afterlife of the event. So it'll all build up to this fantastic day, but then what happens afterwards? What connections have been made? And also, how have people in the audience been inspired by our speakers to go out and create change of their own? That's the thing that I'm most looking forward to?
I'm also looking forward to that glass of wine at the end of the day when we're
Oh
like,
my goodness.
we've done it.
Yeah, that's-
And
I
we
think
toast
espresso
to-
martinis is
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
maybe an
the
espresso
a little bit of a
the
boost
choice.
to take us into the after party.
Yeah.
But, so, Liam, to close this out, how are people listening to this, if they're interested in TEDx Orlando, how do they stay in touch and keep abreast of what we're doing?
So the website is TEDxOrlando.live. You can sign up to our mailing list on there. We'll be selling tickets through there. We've got information about our sponsorship partnership packages on there. But we're also on all of the usual social media channels. We probably need to do a little bit more on TikTok. I don't know. We need a young person
Oh, good Lord,
to do
TikTok.
some TikTok for us. But we're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. If you go online, we're on LinkedIn. But I would say the main hub is kind of the website to get updated with all of the things that are coming. If you sign up to the mailing list, we normally share the big news, the big updates. So when tickets go on sale, when we've selected our date, the venue, that normally goes to the mailing list first before we then put it on social media.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all. It's been an interesting conversation, and I look forward to seeing as many of the listeners as possible at TEDx Orlando.
Thank you.